A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant legal battle that could redefine the limits of presidential power, the Trump administration has formally requested the U.S. Supreme Court to allow the deployment of National Guard troops in Illinois. This request comes after a lower court ruling blocked the administration's efforts to federalize and mobilize these troops, a move that has sparked controversy and opposition from local officials. The Justice Department argues that the lower court's order undermines the president's authority as commander-in-chief and disrupts the military chain of command. Solicitor General D. John Sauer emphasized that the decision to prevent the deployment of federalized Guard troops not only jeopardizes the safety of federal personnel, but also hinders the enforcement of federal laws in the face of ongoing unrest. The administration's stance is rooted in a law known as Title X, which grants the president the power to federalize National Guard members in situations deemed as rebellion or threats to national security. The current climate surrounding immigration policies has led to heightened tensions and protests in cities like Chicago, prompting the administration to act. President Trump has already federalized 300 members of the Illinois National Guard to protect federal immigration officers and government properties, while also mobilizing additional troops from Texas. However, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has vehemently opposed this move, labeling it as un-American and asserting the state's sovereignty. The legal battle escalated when a U.S. District Court judge sided with the state, deeming the federal government's assessment of the situation in Chicago as unreliable. A panel of judges from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit upheld this ruling, stating that the protests, while spirited and at times violent, do not constitute a rebellion against the government. They emphasize that the disruptions have been managed effectively by local, state, and federal authorities, and that the federal facilities remain operational. The Trump administration, however, maintains that the violence targeting federal authorities and properties in Illinois poses a legitimate threat that justifies the deployment of the National Guard. This legal confrontation is not isolated to Illinois. Similar situations have arisen in other cities, including Portland and Los Angeles, where the administration has sought to deploy troops in response to civil unrest. As the Supreme Court prepares to weigh in on this contentious issue, the implications of their decision could have lasting effects on the balance of power between state and federal authorities, particularly in matters of national security and law enforcement. The urgency of this case is underscored by the ongoing threat of violence and the need for protective measures for federal personnel. The Supreme Court's ruling could either reinforce the president's authority to mobilize troops or establish a precedent that limits such powers in the face of state opposition. As the legal proceedings continue, all eyes will be on the Supreme Court to determine the future of National Guard deployments and the extent of presidential power in domestic affairs. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.